What knowledge might save your life one day? 120 people will get bowel cancer in their lifetime. You need some sort of screening starting at age 45 to 50 depending on your family history. Any blood in the stool needs to be checked out. Early cancers can be completely cured with keyhole surgery. You don't have to die of bowel cancer. If someone is trying to abduct you, fight back. Most abductors will just give up if they meet resistance. And whatever you do, don't let them take you to another location. You ain't taking me to no secondary location. Always leave your itinerary with someone. If you meet strangers, that is, potential bad people, on the road, always let them know that you are in touch with friends and family and that they know exactly where you are. You become less attractive as a victim. Edit. Always let strangers know that you have a destination and are expected at a particular time too. That water you're about to dive into might not be as deep as you think. Always just step in and swim down to check for depth. Then jump. Always do this. My dad told me a story about a group of guys he knew from school. After graduation they all went up to someone's lake house and one guy decided to dive off the dock. As soon as they got there the water was shallow that year and when he dove in he broke his neck and died on impact. Check for debris, but faces like to dump trash. Getting implanted on rubber underwater is not a good way to go. Yes, check for debris. We swam at the same hole for years, and one time we showed up there was a submerged tree down there. Direct pressure on bleeding is always the first step. On mobile so no good link, but a stop the bleed class is a great way to learn more and practice things like applying a tourniquet. Search for one in your area, usually only an hour long or so. If you have to get out of moving car then put one foot down and take a step. Don't just jump out. This will reduce your speed immensely. Sure you will fall over, but at a much reduced speed. A stuntman told me this. I had to leave moving car that was going about 40 miles per hour. I was pregnant. I had a medium-sized person to pillow. The man driving the car had said he was going to kill us both if he couldn't have me and was going in and out of oncoming traffic. I grabbed my bag and pillow and held the pillow across my stomach and opened the door and thought, if I go like a rag doll, except my arm holding my stomach and my other arm with my purse covered my face, but everything else I tried to relax. I stepped out and let myself fall and roll. It was amazing. I ended up with just a handful of bruises and scrapes, and I was fine. And my daughter is 14 now. We made it. I'm not sure if I'm understanding this, but if you're going at a high speed, won't your leg just snap? I think they mean to not plant your leg too far ahead and kind of let it start the process of rolling you as you hit. Kind of like those videos of people trying to start running on a treadmill that's going full speed. You'll hit the ground hard and roll, but at less speed overall than if you cannonballed out. If you're taking blood thinners, you should know they increase the risks of bleeding. You should watch out for signs of bleeding like pallor, breathlessness, multiple rash, bleeding gums or nose, red urine. If you accidentally cut yourself, take great care of the cut. You could bleed out if you don't. At the pharmacy today a regular patient died because she got a cut on her leg while gardening, but didn't think much about it. But because she was on blood thinners, she bled out during the night. Also know what things are blood thinners, so you don't combine more than one. Turmeric, ginger, aspirin, including icy hot, if it has methyl salicylate, vitamin E, etc. There was a case where a young athlete bled to death after the coach encouraged the athletes to use too much icy hot. When people say to take an aspirin to help during a heart attack, chew the pill, don't swallow it whole. It gets absorbed much quicker. Edit. Last bit. Whoa, I wouldn't have known that. Thanks. If the tide suddenly goes out unexpectedly, run like you stole it, for higher ground. I read about a 10-year-old English girl who had just learned this before going on vacation with her family to Thailand. Then the big tsunami that killed a few 100,000 came. She saw the water retreat and the other tourists walk out on the exposed seafloor. She freaked out and convinced everybody to run for higher ground. A lot of people were saved by a little girl who had paid attention in school. They later brought a lot of flowers to the teacher. Imagine how terrifying that must be, knowing that a huge unstoppable wave is traveling hundreds of kilometers per hour to your location. And most people don't listen to you, just thinking you're a stupid kid who doesn't know any better. When that happens, how long do you have until? Well, until it's too late. Not long. A tsunami can make landfall traveling north of 500 miles per hour and will sweep and land at 80 miles per hour. You will not outrun it, even in a vehicle. Look for the nearest sturdy building, like a modern hotel or apartment block, that is reinforced concrete, and head for the roof as fast as you possibly can. Just run. It should go without saying to use the stairs. You don't want to be in the lift when the power goes out. If you're alone and start choking with nobody around to give you the hemorrhage, you can give yourself the hemorrhage by using the back of a chair or similar objects like the sidearm of a couch or whatever. Forcefully throw your stomach over the back of the chair a few times. Try to mimic the motion of the hemorrhage. Push in above the belly button, then up, kind of like a J motion. I always try to remember this, but anytime I think I'm slightly choked, this logic goes out the window. How often are you choking? Maybe not your life, but everyone should have basic first aid / CPR training if possible. My dad collapsed on Saturday morning when he got up to go to the toilet, and neither me or my mum know basic first aid or CPR. The ambulance took 8 minutes to arrive, and we only live 4 streets away from the depot. Luckily he came to, but there was a point where he stopped breathing. If he continued to not breathe, 8 minutes would be too late. Please learn and hope you don't need it, instead of needing it and not knowing. All snakes in Victoria, Australia are venomous. Just assume all snakes are venomous and stay away. Edit. 1 letter. I remember reading in a Reddit post similar to this, that if you can't do a pull-up, you probably won't have the strength to pull yourself up off a ledge, and that has stuck with me ever since. Yesterday someone posted a live leak video of those people who parkour on high-rise buildings falling to their deaths. IDKY, I'd watch it, but I watched some of them. Some of those people would do like 3 pull-ups before losing their grip. So it seems like, if you can't do a pull-up where you pull yourself up to your waist, you may still be fricked. Those people really should have learned muscle ups first. It's basically the form you should have for pulling yourself up off a ledge. A fake. It's one of the most essential basics taught in parkour. Contrary to common myth, you can file a missing persons report before 24 hours have passed. Putting it off a day because they went missing that night could very easily be the difference between them being found or not. I believe a large portion of missing persons will be dead after 24 hours, and an even greater percentage will be dead after 48 hours. So yeah, don't put it off if you think something is wrong. Better to be safe than sorry. Edit. I didn't word this right. This is true in cases of abductions, where the abductee is killed. Basically the point is, don't waste time if this sort of thing happens. If you're ever charged by a moose, get behind a tree. They have about a 10-inch blind spot, and they'll lose you. Always question yourself, especially under the influence. If someone gets stabbed, do not take the knife out if possible. If it stays in, it acts as a plug to the hole and will reduce blood loss. Apply pressure around the wound as best as you can and call an ambulance. And if you get stabbed and the attacker withdraws the knife, seal off the wound with a credit card, especially if it's to the lung. Edit. I'm on my way out of the country and turned on my phone to find that this is putting people's lives in danger. By seal off the wound I meant create suction by putting the card flat on the wound. Don't just jam it in there and dig around. I saw this in an instructional video for police like a year ago. And if you get stabbed and the attacker withdraws the knife, do not reinsert the knife back into the wound. You won't align it properly and just make the wound much worse. Make a new wound and leave the knife in that one. If you try aligning it, don't try multiple times. That would make it worse. The last time this was asked, I actually read something that later, at the very least, saved my behind. Don't try to put out a grease fire with water. You must smother it. I have an ABC fire extinguisher in the kitchen and one by the outside grill. Everyone should have at least one in the house. Know how to spot a stroke. An easy way to remember is the acronym FAST. Face. Is one side of your face droopy? Can you fully smile? Arms. Can you hold your arms out straight? Speech. Are you unintentionally slurring your words? Time. Call an ambulance right away. Time is of the essence. Edit. RIP inbox. There's a few things I should add to this, based on what some others in the medical profession have said below. The acronym is now BEFAST. It is adding balance and eyes. Also, in regards to time, call 911 immediately, but also try to find out when the symptoms started. If they just started, make note of the time. Otherwise, try and find out from people who were around. Finally, you do not have to have all of the above symptoms in order to be having a stroke. One or fewer is possible as well. BEFAST is just a good acronym that is easy for the public to remember. In addition to a few other people who helped add to my original post, here is one in particular that I thought was well written. In Australia, you can always make calls to 000 regardless of whether you have signal/credit. Your mobile will use any available network to connect you. Edit. You will also connect to emergency services if you ring 911 over 999. Edit 2. I did not include all countries as I was not completely sure if it does work in all countries. And those people saying about the outback, yes, your mobile won't work out there at all because there is call out there. If you are going to the outback, please make sure you are adequately prepared for an emergency, because even if by some miracle your call gets through, it would be hours before emergency services could get to you. In the US, this is also true of 911. If you are able to connect to any cell tower or Wi-Fi network from your phone, it doesn't matter if the phone even has a SIM, you're supposed to be able to contact 911. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you want.